Hello everyone! For today's lesson, let us solve quadratic equations by factoring. We have to see to it that we can illustrate quadratic equations and solve quadratic equations by factoring after this lesson. Let us now solve quadratic equations by factoring. So remember that the standard form of a quadratic equation is expressed as ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. But before we go on, let us review the principle of zero property products. So if a times b is 0, then either a is equal to b or b is equal to 0, or it could be both a and b are 0. Of course, any number multiplied by 0 is 0. So if 0 is multiplied to 0, it will also give us an answer of 0. So let us now factor with a common monomial factor. Remember that there should be two solutions for a quadratic equation. So we always have to look for two solutions. Some other terms are for two factors or two roots. So those are the terms used in mathematics. So let us have an example. So what could be the factors if we are given in this equation ax squared plus bx is equal to 0? So as you can see, we have no value for c here, but how can we factor that out? So to factor, you just find the common factor of ax squared plus bx. So what do you think are common factors of ax squared plus bx? Of course, that's x. So x will be divided to both terms. And when writing the factors, so just write the common factor outside the parentheses. And then ax squared divided by x will give you ax plus b. So why b? Because bx divided by b is bx divided by x is b. So our final factors will be a parenthesis ax plus b is equal to 0. So let us have the first example. So if, for example, we are given x squared minus 8x is equal to 0. So how do we factor that out? So let us just follow the pattern that I have given you. So what will be the factors? The factors will be, the common factor is x squared divided by x is x. So you copy the sign, and 8 divided by x is 8. Okay, so let us equate the factors to 0. So equate x here to 0. So that's already the one of the roots, or one factor, or one solution. That's x is equal to 0. And equate x minus 8 to 0, which will give you x is equal to 8. So let us do the checking. In checking, you just substitute the computed value to your original equation. So let's have 0 first. So 0 here is substituted to the x because we have computed our x here as 0. So let's continue. Just simplify. 0 is 0. Okay, so therefore 0 and 8 are the solutions to the equation. X squared minus 8x is equal to 0. But wait, I still have to show you how to check for this part. So how to check? Then x is equal to 8. So why 8? Because we have computed x here as 8. Substitute to your original value. So that is 8 squared minus 8 times 8 is equal to 0. 8 squared here is 64. Negative 8 times 8 is negative 64. And therefore, 64 minus 64 is 0. So that's a true solution. 0 is equal to 0. So I hope you understand. If you think this is a bit fast, now you can play and replay this video, or you can even download it. It's free. It's for you. My purpose for doing this is for you to learn. So let's continue. So how do we factor perfect square trinomial? Remember that the factors of a perfect square trinomial is a square of a binomial. Say if we are given x squared plus 12x plus 36 is equal to 0. So how do we factor that out? Just follow this pattern. Okay, extract the square root of the first term and the third term. So what do you have? x plus 6 squared. So that is a square of a binomial. Then factor that out, meaning to say we have 2x plus 6 and then equate to 0 and get the value of your x. So that's the solution. And I am always reminding you, don't forget to do the checking. I have told you in the first slides how to do the checking. Just substitute the value to the original equation and don't forget to write your conclusion. Alright, so let's continue with this very simple lesson. I hope you get inspired with the two cutie animes out there. So let's continue. Our number 3 is factoring a quadratic equation not in standard form. So how do we simplify the given? So if you can see, I have given an example which is maybe a bit complicated to you, but if you look at that very carefully, those are just fractions with, of course, sometimes you are just confused of the many numbers. So we have two fractions given before the equal sign and a whole number after the equal sign. Just look, how do you simplify fraction? So that's the main thing. So you just have to multiply it by its LCD. So if you have multiplied it already by the LCD, you should have gotten this simplified form. 18 plus 2x squared plus 3x is equal to 15x. So how would that happen? Of course, just multiply both sides by 3x. So and then after that, you combine like terms, and after combining like terms, it would look like 18 plus 2x squared is equal to 15x minus 3x. So if you can see, 3x is transpose, or simply saying addition property of equality. So you, after combining like terms, you transpose or you add 3x, you subtract 3x from both sides. Okay, or just simply saying, as I am telling you just in other video, my tip, once a term, okay, trespass to the other side of this equal sign, it changes its sign, and therefore 3x became negative 3x. So let's continue. Just simplify and then write in standard form, because the first thing to do in order to simplify or to solve quadratic equation is to write. Always you have to write your equation in standard form, and as I have told you, this is the standard form of a quadratic equation. So let's continue. Then after that one, if after simplifying, combining like terms, then you just factor. Okay, so find the factor of 2x squared minus 12x plus 18 is equal to 0. So that will be binomials 2x minus 6 and x minus 3. And then equate to 0. 2x minus 6 is equal to 0. And x minus 3 is equal to 0. Okay, and then find the value of your x. Okay, don't forget to find the value of your x. Remember that quadratic equation should have two values or two roots, or some other terms are solutions. Okay, and then how about this one? It is just someone who is very cutie, just reminds us that we don't have to forget, or we shouldn't forget to do the checking, because a mathematical solution is not complete without the checking. And of course, what is another task which is important? Don't forget to write the conclusion. Okay, so this video is just a simple video for you to study, and I hope you learn something from it. So thank you so much.